Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion begins with the laws of the red heifer, the red cow. And this is considered a super rational commandment, a commandment that has no logical explanation to it. Torah says that if someone was defiled spiritually by coming into contact with the dead, which according to the Torah defiles, they need to go through a cleansing process. And the Kohen has to take the ashes of a red heifer, mix it with water, living water, and sprinkle it on the person becomes cleansed. And when we look at this commandment, we say, what is the meaning of irrational commandments in the Torah? And furthermore, the word chok, which is irrational or super rational commandments, means to engrave. What's the connection between an irrational commandment and engraving? And it turns out that in brain science, neuroscientists discovered that there's two parts of the brain, the logical part and the instinctive part, which is illogical. You see, we all have the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rational part of the brain, which processes and rationalizes information and weighs the pros and the cons of every argument. But then we all have the amygdala. The amygdala is that instinctual part of our brain that gives an emotional, immediate response. And it turns out that according to brain science, when we think we're making a rational decision, it's already been predetermined by our instinctual amygdala part of the brain. When we have to make a split-second decision, we look at a situation and we get this immediate emotional gut feeling and instinctive response as to what should be the right action. There are times when we could sit and analyze things with our prefrontal cortex part of the brain, but when we're in a life or death situation, or when we face a fear or a challenge, we are immediately drawn to certain things and reject and repulsed by other things. And therefore, a lot of our rational brain is not really rational. It's rationalization. It's rationalizing what we instinctively, intuitively feel and want immediately, and that is made in the blink of an eye. And therefore, what the Torah is telling us is that it's not enough to work with our rational brain, with our prefrontal cortex, with our commandments that are rational and logical. But we have to engrave deep into our soul the values and the teachings of the Torah with the super rational commandments to reach the amygdala part of the brain, so that our instinctive, intuitive, natural, immediate reaction to good and bad should be in line and in tune with the Torah's commandments. And that's why the paradum is considered the ultimate chok, the ultimate commandment of irrationality is the commandment of the red heifer. Because what are the most important two words in Judaism? Ubacharta b'chaim. You shall choose life. And therefore the paradum teaches us to always reject death and celebrate life. When a person is defiled by coming into contact with the dead, they need to be cleansed. They need to re-embrace life. They need to take the living waters and mix it with the ashes, which represents death, and begin to live again. And this chok addresses that deep essence of our being, the amygdala, which is connected to our souls, to always allow us to choose life in the face of death. And that's been the story of the Jewish people for thousands of years. We faced death time and again, but we always continuously chose life, and that's why we continue to live on. Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live on. We wear a necklace that says Chai. We say L'chaim on every occasion. Life is so embedded, engraved in our essence, that we defy death and transcend death time and again to live on. And in the face of death, we choose life. And that's something we see every single day since October 7th, how Jews in Israel and around the world, facing death literally on a daily basis, continue to celebrate life and choose life. In the city of Ma'alot, which is in the Galilee, Western Galilee in Israel, there's a rabbi there, an amazing rabbi, Rabbi Yeshua Weitzman. Rabbi Yeshua Weitzman decided to choose life. And so he gathered his entire community and he says, we are going to divide the entire Torah, not just the 5 books of Moses, not just all the books of the prophets and the scriptures, but the entire Talmud, not just the Babylonian Talmud, but the Jerusalem Talmud, and all of Jewish law, and all of the Midrashim, the entirety of the Torah. And every member of the community was given a section whatever they could study. It could be one chapter of the Torah. It could be one parsha, or it could be a tractate of Talmud, or a page of Talmud. And they divided up the entire Torah from beginning to end amongst all the residents of the town of Ma'alot, men, women, and children even participating. And then the entire community came together this week to celebrate the completion of the study of the entire Torah with joy, with dancing, with festivities. And in the face of all this death, they said, we will continue to live as a Jewish people by embracing the Torah, learning the Torah, and living by the Torah, because the response to death is choose life. This is embedded deep and engraved within every fiber of every Jewish being. Have a wonderful day.